So last week I shot a branded video with a shoemaker, and on the weekend I went to Munich to take pictures at an event in the evening and shoot interviews during the day. 3 completely different jobs in the span of a couple days, 2 of which were on the same weekend. And to show you how I approach each of these projects, I'll take you to the computer and show you the footage and work through it like that. Let me start with the shoemaker. If you see the opening shot, that is basically the one side, and this right here is the other side. And so with a quick look at like what the space looked like, I chose this side as the place where we'd do the interview. Like you can see the stool there, you can see just the way the space looked, and I decided to have the camera face into the back left corner where the stairs are, just to give a bit of, depth into the room, like leading lines and having you could feel it's more 3-dimensional. What you would also notice is that in this shot you can see the lights on top, and the first thing I did was turn those off and place a light onto the right hand side and have it bounce off the wall, and I lit the entire room with that. There's no other light in there except that one light, so you see the whole room in the back is lit, just bounced off that wall, bouncing to the right. And then I put a key to the left, the opposite side basically, so that I have like dark light patches all over, just to give it visual interest. To then basically get that shadow on his right side, this right side of the face, I used these foldable reflectors thingies and put that in front of the light so that it doesn't bounce off the wall onto him, and I just kind of blocked that from hitting his face, which then created this shadow on his right side of the face. For the other shots, to kind of have the same kind of look, I couldn't have the light bounce the wall anymore because it basically would turn around the light on his face and it wouldn't look the same. So like I had to then take the light and bounce it to the opposite corner so that it lights that wall and then lights his face. Obviously what helps is that there's a huge skylight above the stairs, and so that also basically lights from behind. So for this shot, for example, I only had one light and that did everything. That's basically how I went about filming this whole thing. Then I just sat down with him, did the interview, and then got some B-roll footage of the other rooms just to kind of show what he's talking about, because he has these 2 spaces. And we were lucky enough that we got a client that was by chance there for that day, and we basically took that real conversation. There was no acting involved at all. She was actually there for a proper appointment, and we used that whole thing to kind of underline what he was saying. So we shot that whole client interaction first, of them communicating, trying on the shoe and all that stuff, and then we did the interview. Then on the weekend I drove to Munich to take pictures and videos. So I brought a lot of my gear, all my lights, my tripods, my 2 cameras, and we had this one room. I was very skeptical about the windows being in the background because I didn't want them to be overexposed. I didn't want them to glow out. We ran all of our lights on 1%, all of them, because they were powerful enough to light perfectly within this room. We put on the normal ceiling lights in the background to not have a completely dark room, to give a bit of visual interest, and filmed deep into the room. We moved that table back just a bit so that they don't sit right up against the table. The whole reason they asked me to come is not necessarily because of the gear that I have, because Ben on the right, he's also a very good videographer, and he brought an FX6 and an FX3. So it really was not about the gear. Like, they would have had this gear anyway. They asked me to come in because they wanted to learn how to do interviews from me, how to interview people, how to ask questions, how to interact, to get the best out of everything. And we had an online Zoom where it's basically broke down how to do a good interview. I then came to do the interview so they could watch and also interview themselves, and I could give feedback on like how I would maybe do something different, what I would improve, what I thought was really good, what they were really good at already, what things they could fix to get a better conversation flowing. Then in the evenings, between these interviews, or before the interviews and after the interviews, was a very long day, or a very long weekend. I went and I took some pictures at a different event. You can see me here taking pictures. Asked my friend to take some videos of me, just a quick clip of me taking photos. It felt so stupid. But I mean, that's what I have to do to get the behind the scenes, to show you what it looks like taking pictures at this event. So this really was a very intense weekend, and I hope you guys could learn a bit of like how I light things for branded content, or just generally light a room and light the interview. That's always interesting, and I think what's way more important than the gear itself is the skills that are transferable regardless of what gear you have, where you can get someone to authentically tell their perspective on events or what experience they had. Well, I guess that's it from me. If you learned anything or have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I'll try to get to all of them as best as I can. Maybe I'll even make another video regarding one of these questions. I hope you enjoyed this video, and then I'll see you in the next one. Bye.